guys, it's Mrs. Hutchinson again. This week you're going to keep working on your animal research projects. Each teacher is going to have a read aloud on their website about a different group of animals. I am going to read you a book called Animal School, What Class Are You? That's going to tell you a little bit about every single class. And a class of animals is also just another word to say a group of animals. This book is called Animal School, What Class Are You? And it's written by Michelle Lord and illustrated by Michael Garland. Animal School, what class are you? What animal do you think that is? It's a raccoon. And on the cover, we have a lion. Vertebrates have spines. Elephants to pygmy wrasses, vertebrates are grouped by classes. I see pictures of animal skeletons to show that a vertebrate is just another word for an animal that has a spine or a backbone. Put your hand behind your back. Can you feel your spine? Put your hand, rub it up and down your back. Does that mean that you're a vertebrate? I think it does. Vertebrates have spines like you. Mammals, fish, and reptiles too. Amphibians crawl and scamper. Vertebrates with skin that's damper. Birds have backbones, beaks, and wings. A bird breathes air and sometimes sings. In this picture, they have an elephant, and we know that an elephant is a mammal. And there's a wrasse, which is a fish, and a reptile. All of these guys have backbones. Do you see their pictures of their backbones? This is an amphibian. Can you tell what kind of animal this is based on how the legs look? And this is a bird. It's a skeleton. I can see where the wings are. I can see where their beak is. I can also see the spine. This page is all about the animal class called reptiles. If you want to learn more about reptiles, you can go look at Mrs. Anderson's website, and she's going to have a read aloud about reptiles. From head to backs to tips of tails, iguanas are encased in scales. Sunshine heats up turtle's blood. He can chill out in cool mud. Born alive or hatched from eggs, some are limbless, some have legs. Limbless means you don't have any arms or legs. I see a picture of a limbless reptile right here. Do you know what that is? It's a snake, and they're born from eggs. Cobra young are on their own. Parents leave them all alone. That's because snakes are born with instincts. They know what to do as soon as they're born. They don't need their parents to take care of them. Here's another big reptile. Does anybody know what reptile this is? But alligators raise their young. Hatchlings ride on mother's tongue. Oh my gosh, could you imagine if you rode in your mother's mouth and sat on her tongue? I would never be brave enough to ride in an alligator's mouth, but that's just how they take care of their babies. Every noise a reptile hears through covered holes, not floppy ears. That means reptiles don't have ears like this. They just have a little hole that's covered. That's a characteristic of a reptile. It doesn't have floppy ears. Oh, this is another animal class about fish. And if you want to learn more about fish, you can go to Mrs. Anderson, with no S, Mrs. Anderson's website, and she's going to teach us more about fish. Underwater fishes roam. Rivers, lakes, or seas are home. Oxygen flows through their gills. These are the gills right here. Water passes through these frills. That means that fish don't need to come up for air. They get their oxygen from the water and it goes through the gills, and that's how they breathe underwater. Fish are cloaked in flaky scales, lacking hair or furry tails. You guys ever touched a snake or a fish with scales? It feels kind of smooth and bumpy, maybe even a little slimy. They don't have, the poem said, it doesn't have hair or tails. They're smooth with scales. Blood runs cold through fishy parts. It's pumped around by beating hearts. You guys put your hand on your hearts. Can you feel your heart beating? I can feel mine beating. And then fish, their blood is pumped through their heart also. What helps fishes stop and go? Fins propel them to and fro. Fingerlings from eggs they hatch, sometimes hundreds in a batch. That means one fish can lay a little amount of eggs or a lot of eggs. Daddy seahorse swims so slow, his brood pouch babies grow. Did you know the seahorse is special? Usually when an animal is taking care of their young, it's usually the mommies that do it. But seahorses and another animal that we're going to learn about later, seahorse daddies are the ones who take care of the babies before they're born. Ooh, what animal is this? To me, it looks like a wolf, or maybe a coyote or a dog, but I'm thinking it's a wolf. These are mammals. And if you want to learn more about mammals, you can go to Mr. Brown's website or Mrs. Marsh's website, and they're going to read you some more books about mammals. Desert heat to icy range, a mammal's temp has little change. That means their temperature is the same whether they're in Antarctica or they're in Africa. Our temperature is usually, for a human, our temperature is normally about 98.6. If it's any hotter than that, we might be sick. We might have a fever. Baby drinking milk from mom, fills his belly, keeps him calm. That's another characteristic of a mammal. They drink milk from their mom. Born alive, not laid in eggs. Mammals mostly walk on legs. That means all mammals like you and me, and this tiger here and this deer, were all born alive, not in an egg like with reptiles. People, rabbits, even deer, all of them have stick-out ears. Do you remember how we learned that the alligator, the reptile, didn't have floppy ears? It just had a little hole that covers it. Well, mammals, we all have floppy ears. They can be big ears like an elephant, or little ears like humans, or medium ears like this rabbit. Ooh, another class of animals or a group of animal are the birds. And if you want to learn more about birds, you can go to Mrs. Burning's website. She knows a lot about birds. She's going to read you some books about birds also. Birds. Hollow bones help eagles fly. Feathers take them through the sky. Did you guys know that birds, their bones are hollow? That means they're not solid. Like if our bones aren't hollow, they don't have it's kind of like if you look through something that's hollow, you can see through it. It's like it's got a hole in the middle. It's kind of, if you would cut a bird's bone, that's what it would look like. It would look just like a circle with nothing inside. This is a picture of what this eagle's bones look like underneath. And then they have feathers on the outside. That's a characteristic of a bird. They have hollow bones and they have feathers, not fur. Bright blue plumage. That's another word for feathers. Dazzles mate. Songbird whistles for his date. That's how a bird can get a mate or a partner. They sing to them. Beaks are used for pecking bugs, turning eggs, and plucking slugs. They use their beak to hunt and eat. Penguin father sways through sleet with an egg upon his feet. This is the other animal I was thinking about when we were talking about the seahorse daddy taking care of his eggs. The penguin daddy also takes care of his eggs. This, I think, is a blue jay. And this is a penguin. I'm not quite sure what those other birds are. Ooh, here's another class or group of animals called amphibians. And who's going to teach us about amphibians? What website should you go to? It's Mrs. Souter. If you want to learn all about amphibians, go to Mrs. Souter's website. Tadpole gills will ventilate. Toads inhale and lungs inflate. Tree frogs chorus, peep, peep, peep. Through the woodlands, froglets leap. Salamander's tail is so long. Skin is moist and legs are strong. So here's the tadpole, and then it grows into a frog. They start out like this with just a head and a tail, and then eventually they get legs, and then they grow arms and they become a frog. Newt and toad are sensitive to pollution where they live. That means they need clean air and clean earth. All are born in water and grow their legs to live on land. That's just like with the tadpoles. Let's go back and look at that picture of a tadpole. That's what all amphibians kind of start out as. And then when they go through their life cycle, when they grow up, first they live in the water, and then when they grow up, they grow legs and they live on land. It's a characteristic of an amphibian. Here's that word again, vertebrates. That means any animal that has a backbone or a spine. Salamander, cockatoo, rattlesnakes, and kangaroo. Barracuda, people too. Vertebrates, the name for you. There's another class of animals, or a type of animal called invertebrates. They don't have a spine. This says, invertebrates are spineless things. Lobster, spider, bugs with wings. And if you want to learn about insects, which is an invertebrate because it doesn't have a spine, you can go to Mrs. Blake's page and she's going to teach you all about insects. And if you want to learn about arachnids, which is another name for spiders, you can go to Mrs. Karas's website and she's going to teach you all about arachnids. Now, those are all the classes that we learned about. We learned about mammals and birds and fish and reptiles and amphibians. But there's two more. There was arachnids and insects that I didn't teach you about today because this book was mainly about vertebrates, which are animals who have what? Spines. You're right. It was nice seeing you guys. I hope I get to see you soon. Bye.